here today to mourn the passing of Perel Lewinger, Devoshe Perel bas Pinchas haLevi. Rabbi Ginsburg mentioned to me this morning, from what he recalls, going back roughly 60 years ago, that Mr. Perel's father davened by him in shul, and he recalls that he was called up as a Levi. So that's what her name is. Okay. In any case, has anyone ever wondered why, when we open a eulogy, we always say that the phrase, "we are gathered here today to commemorate the passing of the one that is deceased," in this case, it's Perel Lewinger. Why do we always open the statement with "we're gathered here today"? There are many other ways of referring to a gathering and referring to addressing the people that have assembled. But what is the reason for which we use it, make that kind of a statement? But before I continue, I think it would be worthwhile to first hear from a number of people that knew Perel on a personal level, and to speak about her personal qualities and find out a bit more who she was. I didn't know her as well as a number of the people that are assembled here did, so I think it would be appropriate to first hear from the people that knew her well and to say some words about her. Leon?
I think I should be first.
Yes.
It's going to be very hard for me to do it. Well, first I want to read a poem dedicated to her. It's going to be very hard for me.
Hard for all.
I read this at the $500,000 on Shabbos, but I changed the format. See, instead of a rose in the middle, I made it like this. But that's very appropriate for her, you know. This is called A Tribute to Perel Lewinger. Her life was a river of love that flowed from God. A shining treasure we loved, an angel in disguise. My tribute to Perel Lewinger, a spiritual giant in size. A life well lived, reaching out to everyone. Perel Lewinger was a loyal companion, so true, sharing our lives together with joy and laughter that makes for a better day. She had a smile on her face that lit up the room, of glowing with joy. Everyone did thoroughly enjoy. Perel Lewinger was a very proud Jew. A love of Judaism so great, especially Israel, our Jewish state, flowing with milk and honey. The $500,000 was her favorite place, especially Shabbos, an island in time. Putting cares of the day aside, of dancing feet and holy sound that defines. Your glowing memory will always brighten up our lives with a place in our hearts. Of passing away on April 25th, 2018. So let me say a few words about, you can get these later if you want. I'm not forcing you. Let me tell you something about Perel. I'm going to be not too brief, but I'll mention it anyway. Perel was a person that never complained. She didn't expect too much in life. Just a good meal and $500,000. That's all she expected. But anyways, she always had a smile on her face, and this smile kind of like my poem, it always lit up the room. Now Johnny knows that. She was like the queen bee of the happy minion, like honey attracts other people. So I call my honey Devoshe. It means honey. And I'll tell you one thing about Perel. She was a person of a few words and many deeds. She never talked too much like some people at the happy minute, like me, go yak, yak, yak. But my poetry speaks for itself. Anyways, Dave's good at that. But anyways, people would come up to her and they'd say, "How you doing, Perel? Good Shabbos." And yeah, everything's fine. I mean, things weren't all right. You're supposed to say it's all right when it's on Shabbos. And then if the small kids, she never complained, even if they had a small kids. Of course, lately they've been having one, maybe once a month, possibly not. But I'm going to donate something for a kid, so don't worry about that now. But anyways, she really liked Jeff and Dave a lot. Some of her favorite, of course, Johnny. Some of her favorite. Of course, she had Ariosa, some of the others. She liked them all. She loved everyone unconditionally. She never talked about anyone. Didn't spread lotion horror. Of course, she might have done once in a while. We're not perfect. At home, she might have done it, but not at the happy minute. But anyways, just one thing. I don't know if I should say it. It's all right. It's a little humor. One thing she had no control over her shopping. Women about that. She liked jewelry, but it's not a weakness. Women could relate to that. So we'd go to Nordstrom. And I'd have to say going every time we went inside it. We went to the jewelry section. Perel, please, how much are you going to spend? I had a wheel to all the different sections. I got sick. I'm into the material thing. She'd pick up this jewelry and that jewelry. And then I'd really have to worry when she went to the accessories section. She liked scarves. Women like scarves. How many scarves can you have? I mean, she had enough scarves in the house. I says, Perel, please, how much do you think it's going to cost? New? I like things wholesale. I'll go to Kmart. But anyways, Perel, okay, take everything to the register and let's add them up. Subtotal. They subtotaling $25, $50, $100. Come on, stop at $200. Said, that's my money. Don't tell me what to do. I tell her, hey, Perel, you're spending too much money. You're charging up. Can you pay it back? Can you pay your bills? He says, but let's get off that. That's on that side of it. But see, her smile spoke volumes about herself. With her smile meant many things. Many words she would speak with her smile. Like Dave Sachs is very good with the words, but she was good with the smile. And I'm good with the poetry. So I once remember I was reciting a poem. I said, David Sachs, am I upstaging you? I said, don't worry about it. You're good with the lectures. I'm good with the poet. Leave me with the poet. I'm not good at that kind of. I speak plain English when I write poetry. But the good news is I hope to have a book published called Streams of Joy this year. I have a publisher already. The good news is I need 100. I have over 60 now. And I don't know what I do like on Shabbos. I came Shabbos without the happy minute, I don't know where I'd be. And then I've been doing Kaddish every single day. I'm not too religious as a Jew, but all of a sudden Perel told me, whisper from heaven, do Kaddish. So who knows, I might become more religious from Ray Yarmulke one of these days. I don't know. But that's all I have to say about her. I don't want to belabor the point. And thanks for your attention. It's the first time I ever gave you a talk like that. But one more thing I want to say. Perel loves everyone. She loved everyone before I leave. I didn't leave yet. Before I leave. No, I didn't leave yet. Right. Maybe I'll do stand up at the Laugh Factory. I don't know. But I know Dave's good at that. He writes it. But anyway. Let's see. What am I saying?
She loved everyone.
I think I'm going to Laugh Factory next. She loved everyone unconditionally, And you should be really rewarded in heaven. I believe she went. She went to a good place. Because she had a smile on her face Tuesday night. I said, Perel, are you all right? She said, I'm all right. Don't worry about it. I think she must have known something was going to happen. Then Wednesday night, Wednesday morning, her breathing was very belated. She goes, but I don't know. She's done that before. I don't know anything was wrong. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. And the doctor says a month ago, you better go to the hospital. And Perel didn't like hospital. She went in October. That was enough for her. I mean, after a month, she got out of the hospital. She had conniptions, But she never liked hospitals. I don't like them either. I don't even go to doctors. But anyways. She always had a smile on her face. It reminds me of my mother, Yada Gervin. when everything went wrong, she said, don't worry about it. It's like Shabbos. You're not supposed to complain. Someone asks you on Shabbos, how are you doing? I'm doing all right. I'm miserable, but I'm still all right. The old Jewish joke. I'm miserable, I'm still all right. But I want to thank Jeff for making this thing possible. Jeff and Leah for making the whole thing possible. Without them, I don't know where she'd be. She wouldn't even be buried. But thank God, if she's not buried, that'd be a tragedy, I couldn't live with something like that. I want to thank Jeff for making things possible. And David's a great guy. I've been part of his tours sometimes, but it's hard to comprehend. I think, like Shlomo macabre, I like it to the heart sometimes. No, my poetry speaks to the heart, but I don't want to compete with you. But that's all I have to say now. How was that? Was that good for Joe? Maybe we should go to the
for Norman to come up and say a few words.
I'm ready for that.
Good job. Good job, Leon.
Well, I don't want to compete with David. He's good.
One thing that I like to say is that he talked about other people here and everything, but no matter who you were, and it didn't really make a difference what you believed, what religion, she loved everybody. And she really liked everybody. If you were good to her, she was good to you. And for people that didn't know her and they were good to her, but once you crossed her, the true colors really came out about her.
Yeah, I know about that one.
And so anybody could be her friend. But once you cross her, or once she'll go, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And she has, how should I say, stuck to that. To whoever. I don't want to talk to you. That's it. Leave me alone. And she mentioned a few people like that. I don't know if they're here today, but she mentioned a few people. But she was honest about that, and I respect her for that. I said a few things to her. I lived with her in that building for a while, and I would give her some conversation. We would talk privately, whatever. Very spiritual person. She's going to be missed, and I can see that. She had a lot of good friends. We talked a lot about the Happy Million. She loved it. She loved going on trips when she was able to. Her eccentricity exploded to people. you knew who she was.
I knew that one.
Hey, that lady could be a little. That's her. How she dressed, how she lived life, and she loved her home.
Sit down.
She loved the people at her home, and she was a good person. And again, her eccentricities exploded around, and she loved people, loved life. And thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Very good, Mark. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
Mazel tov. Go ahead. Very good. You to the point.
You lived in her building.
I guess I can thank you. She did. She broke up.
Hello, everyone. My name's Jerry. I lived in the building with Perel for many years, and we became friends over the years. And in some way, we were like this, I don't know, pseudo family or something. Norm and I and Leon. Well, dysfunctional, you could say that. But I was thinking about that today, and I was thinking, well, it was an odd situation. I mean, there's no question, right? But Perel was eccentric. I guess that's the good word to use. And so we dealt with each other, and we helped each other. And Perel, thank you, Perel. She made my life better, and I hope I helped her as much as she did to me. And she was very stubborn. There's no question about that. And that would be frustrating sometimes, but she knew what she wanted. I think was underestimated sometimes. Like she knew what she wanted and what she wanted to do in life, and I think she was a very strong person. I think she suffered a lot with certain things, and she had a lot of challenges, but she wouldn't complain, and she wouldn't always show it. And of course, yes, everyone knew her smile. I mean, she would always be positive, really. And Leon, I mean, you really, I don't know how, those of you that know him, he really took good care of her. He really took good care of her. And if there's an angel, I'd say he was the one for Perel. I mean, so, and of course she always spoke about Happy Minion. I mean, she loved going to Happy Minion, and here we are. So, bye Perel, and thank you guys.
And thank you.
Thank you, Brandon.
David?
Jonathan.
Yeah. Okay. So I've only known Perel for a little bit of her life, about 20 some odd years. Very blessed to meet her at the Happy Minion. What do we know? When the Happy Minion started, we wanted to celebrate, I wrote some words down. When the Happy Minion started, we wanted to celebrate the joy of Judaism, the love of Hashem, the connection to Hasidic masters, including Reb Shlomo Carlebach, who Perel loved very much. We were open to all to come find the right places that they couldn't find other places, and we attracted many people over our last 23 years. Perel came early, she came often. She was always there. She came to every event she could possibly make. She was really a fabric of the Happy Minion. According to, she attended everything. First of all, she was in the House of Love and Prayer, which was Reb Shlomo's start in San Francisco many years ago. She went to visit there one day, and she came back from San Francisco telling me it's not there anymore, which we all knew, but she had to physically see it herself. She attended every concert that she could possibly make. She would come early and she would come late. She was actually friends with my dad in that way. My father, who's no longer with us as well, they used to hang out together and tell stories and whatnot. My father would always stay to the end, just like Perel, and he would lovingly say that he was Perel's chauffeur, because she would live on the same side of town, and whenever she left, they'd look for each other, they'd make the connection, they'd go home. My mom, Leon, you were in that car many times, the big red station wagon that they used to drive. It would hold many, so they liked to be together. She came to Pesach Seders. When we started doing Pesach Seders, she'd come to eat one or two. She wanted to stay in town. The high holidays, she'd come to our high holidays. She would make her way every Shabbos, but on the high holidays or Seders, she would always try to get a hotel, stay close so she could walk. She came to Friday night dinners when we started doing them. As long as we had them, she would come. Our once-a-month Shabbos Kiddush lunches, she was always there. The Reb Shlomo Carlebach memorial celebrations, she would start asking in April or June, when is it going to be? And it's always in November, and she would check every month. She wanted to make sure she didn't miss it. It was going to happen. Sometimes we were a little later than we should have. Sorry about the timing. But we did what we could. She loved Neshama Carlebach and always wanted to know when she would come back to town again. And like I said, the high holiday, she'd be there, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. She would come, her and Leon, and the Happy Minion would try to do Sukkot and have enough food in the community. And oftentimes we would be there, and she would be there with Leon and a few others, Jeff Mann, Rebbe Didier sometimes, and we would be able to serve him. And one community member told me that one of the greatest moments in their entire Sukkot was serving Perel lunch, just giving the mitzvah of doing that, and the joy it brought to her face, and the joy she gave back because of that moment. She loved Yehuda Solomon's singing voice. She loved Reb David's Torahs. She loved Jeff's food. She appreciated really the whole the beginning. Stewie called. He wanted to send his condolences to the whole community and about her leaving the world. Ed Orshan she loved. Jeff Mann and Rebbe Didi, who left this world also. Perel was always appreciative, full of joy, grateful, and had a great sense of humor. She enjoyed life. She took many trips.
I know that for a fact.
and Leon took trips with her.
I know that for a
When
fact.
she was more mobile, she would go away for weekends. She would go away for overnight. She would take day trips. She'd come back to the Happy Minion and she'd give a full report of what she saw to the detail, including the shopping.
I know that for a fact. And also Shari to fill the trip.
That's right. She would
for that.
absolutely. She loved them all. She really loved life. She did never, as many people have mentioned, she never really complained. She was always supportive of very many people who needed help, who needed assistance. She cared about her buddy Leon very, very much,
I
Leon.
know that for a fact.
And she helped everyone, including her, Bob, who's, I don't know if Bob's around or...
Still around.
Okay, excellent. And everybody who lived at the house. She took care of people. She put roofs over people's heads. She was a tzaddikus, more than any of us know. She took people in for a day, for a month, for a night, for a year, for many years, and did it with love and joy. I'm often being at the Happy Minion, we're very involved in Kiruv, and one of the things we've done over the years is had many events, as I mentioned, and one of the things we do is we print up some beautiful flyers. Ronnie Sir made them, who she also cared very deeply about, and we had this little template, and we'd pop them around town. You never know what a flyer can do for someone. Once in a while, you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right, and many times rabbis would ask me, they'd say, tell me a modern Hasidic story. There's everything we've heard, there's everything that goes on, but if you open your eyes and you look, you see modern Hasidic stories everywhere. Perel lived her life in that way. But most recently, Leon, who's our Happy Minion Poet Laureate, wrote this beautiful tribute to Perel. And he decided on his way to the Happy Minion he was going to drop it a few places, right?
I changed the picture.
It's beautiful, but you ended up dropping it at Etz Jacob.
Yeah.
And someone here picked up that flyer at Etz Jacob and went to the rabbi and realized from that flyer that Perel had left this world. And from that moment until Jeff and them spoke, they were able to put this together. Without that miracle, I don't know, we could have been here for days more. And you never know what kind of sparks you can put in life, and you never know what kind of seeds you plant and what kind of trees are going to grow. And Perel was really, really just a tzaddikus, and one of my favorite things was to talk to Perel, and being at the Happy Minion after everybody left cleaning up, we would have many, long conversations. Very bright, very learned, she knew her stuff. She'll be very well missed by our community for sure. In Pirkei Avos, there's a saying that says, who is happy? The answer is, he who is happy with their lot. I've been blessed to meet many wealthy people in my life, but I've never met anyone more rich than Perel. She was happy with her lot. She lived her life to the fullest. Her neshama should have an aliyah. And Devoshe Perel Bas Pinchas will miss you very much. Thank you for being a joy in our lives.
Very good talk. Amen. Very good talk together.
David?
I appreciate that.
Come on.
So Johnny, that was awesome.
Very well.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
I mean, you described her so fantastically, and I don't know what more there is to say after that. I can maybe just address it from a personal level. I mean, I think you described her in the community so amazingly well. I'll just tell you how I would feel when I saw Perel. Perel had her special spot, and she was sort of like this beacon of light shining from that spot. And everyone mentioned her smile. It was real, and there was a purity, and there was a love, and there was a simplicity, but there was also it was 10,000% real, 10,000% real. And it was sort of like, we say, Devoshe, I was thinking of just that imagery of honey, but you can see through honey. Like it's translucent in the best way. Like it just shows you how there was nothing impure about her. She was just like pure sweetness. And whenever we made kiddush and things like that, she was closest to the part of the table where the alcohol was. So I would always offer her a shot, and she would always say yes. And it was such a joy to bring her a shot of vodka on Shabbos, and she would smile and she would drink it and enjoy it, and I just. There's a pasuk I was thinking as I was driving down here. It's in the Siddur. It says Or Chadash Al Tzion Ta'ir, which means that Hashem, may you shine a new light on Zion. right? But I saw Rabbi Moshe Wolfson, Shlita, said Or Chadash is, not a new light, a light of newness. And this is what Perel was for me. She was this light of newness. In other words, she was always new and she was always fresh. I mean, a person can have a smile on their face all the time, but it can seem like a mask. This was a smile that was constantly smiling. It was constantly radiating. It was constantly new. And the name Perel itself also, it's like the Medrash says that Avraham Avinu had a pearl that he wore around his neck, and that when people saw it, it healed them. It was this miraculous thing. And on a deeper level, they say it was from it was the light from the inside of the sun. They're very sort of mystical explanations of it. But Perel had this quality about her, because of it was this radiating newness, that was a healing quality. That when you were with her, everything was okay. When she was at the Happy Minyan, and she was always at the Happy Minyan. I mean, I was asking Olivia, when was she not at the Happy Minyan? I don't remember ever a time when she wasn't there. But it was this sense that when she was there, all was right in the world. And probably, maybe, I can't think of a greater couple than Perel and Leon. I mean, I think this is really, really one of the world's greatest pairings. And so, Leon, just thank you and thank Perel and thank you for being just this awesome combination. And I'm sure Perel's light will continue to shine. And will be an inspiration for all of us to shine as well.
Thanks for that talk. Yeah. I appreciate it. Dave, thanks for mentioning that.
Is there anything else that wants to... Before I continue on my own, these are a few words that my wife put down into a few thoughts. It says, Perel Leah Shalom had a smile that lit up the room. As Leon wrote in his poem, she was a happy, fun-loving person. This description is of a person who had limited mobility and the reason to complain. Yet she was the life of the party and never had a pity party. Rebbetzin Miriam Gatzweig, currently Weisberger, remembered how well she took care of her mother, Aleh Sholem. Even after mother had passed on, Perel had great respect for her. She told me that when it came Pesach, her mother was ultra-Orthodox. When it came Pesach, when Perel made Pesach, it was a serious business. Everything had to be clean, everything had to be meticulous. She sent Leon to sell the chametz at our shul. She sent the chametz to us on Erev Pesach to make sure it got burnt also. It was my great wish that she would come to Kvuras Yisrael as soon as possible. A number of people worked very hard to make sure that this would happen. May Hashem bless them and fill their lives with bracha.
Amen.
Now I'll continue with some of my remarks, not really only my remarks, there are remarks from people on our shul, people that we know, and they're as follows. As Perel's being laid to rest, in actuality, as nice of a person as she was, and as wonderful memories there are, but really it's something very sad. Imagine that there's no one that is coming to be able to tear kriya, as we say, to rent their garments. There's no one that has an obligation to go and say the bracha of Baruch Dayan Ha'emes. And there's no one that has the obligation to say a Kaddish. Even though there will be people that are going to be saying a Kaddish, but there's no one that has this obligation to go ahead and say a Kaddish. And that is something that is very sad and is very hurtful. It hurts when you see a person leave and they seem to be leaving this way. But still in all, normally when a family is there, so there are two purposes in people coming to join in the funeral. First is to recognize the loss, and the second is to comfort the mourners, the people that are mourning. In this kind of a situation, Perel didn't have anyone that is actually obligated to mourn for her. So we, all of us that have come here today, have gathered, we are really the ones that have to feel this mourn and this great loss, and to recognize, as many of her wonderful qualities were mentioned already, to recognize her good qualities and to recognize that now it's not here anymore. Once we come to recognize the great loss, then it's possible to come together and comfort one another. And in my humble opinion, I would suggest that that's really why we say we're all gathered here today. When there's a gathering, the gathering comes together for one purpose. And the purpose and the focus over here is to recognize the loss. And once you recognize the loss, then it's possible to go ahead and to comfort each other. A few more things to mention about Perel in particular. Perel was, as was mentioned, Rebbetzin Gansweig, she honored her parents. Every year, on her mother's yard site, on her father's yard site, she'd make sure that there'd be a bottle of schnapps and some kichel that was brought to shul. I'm sure you can remember that, Leon. That's right, and you were the one that brought it over also.
Yeah.
But it was something that was very important. That was the old custom of what people used to do, and she made sure she kept the custom, and she wanted to honor her parents in that way, that when people would come to shul, they would have something that would literally warm their heart and also to make a bracha on, and making a bracha would be a elevation for the memory of her parents. Not only that, the Gansweig shul was something that was very dear and very close to her heart. Whenever there were, unfortunately, 2 yard sites of the Rabbi's Gansweig that the shul conducts every year, she would, if she was healthy enough, she always made sure to come to the yard sites. And the way is that? Because she recognized that who they were and there was a great loss, and she came to honor the people who were so dear to her. One of the people, that shows how special the Gansweigs were to her, one of the people that actually had a medical durable power of attorney was Rebbetzin Miriam Gansweig, currently Weisberger. And even though she's currently not in town, but this time this was in 2003, this showed the closeness that she had to the Gansweig family, that she felt that Rebbetzin Gansweig was someone who she wanted to have durable power of attorney. Another important thing that was mentioned, but I just want to mention it in a little more detail, is that Perel had a lot to be very bitter and very sad about. Mr. Fuchs tells me that it was due to a stroke that she had much younger, which caused that she had slurred speech. She stuttered quite a bit, and it was not always easy for her to get out the issue, what she wanted to say, very easily. And generally people would get very frustrated when you're trying to say something you can't say, you can't express yourself, it becomes very hard. It's something that causes a lot of upsetness inside a person themselves. But Perel, surprisingly, was very strong and didn't let that bother her. She overcame that impediment. Not that they should speak without a stutter, but the stutter would not bother her from being happy, and definitely she didn't want to make anyone else feel unhappy because she wasn't happy with her situation. So that's definitely something for a lot for us to learn, that with all our difficulties in life, we definitely not only don't we need to share it with others, we still have plenty to be happy about, plenty to laugh about, plenty to smile to others about, and we can make other people happy. And in a similar vein, I spoke to Rabbi Ginsburg this morning, and he did not know Perel very well. He remembers her father davened in his shul, but he mentioned a difficult situation regarding Perel. Perel was actually engaged for a little while, and she's going to get married, but the engagement was broken. And Rabbi Ginsburg told me that her father really never got over that. When you'd come to shul, you could see a person who was very sad that came to shul to the davening. Even though he came to shul, he made sure always to keep all of the laws very, as we say in Yiddish, very upgehit, very careful to keep all of the mitzvahs. But yet you could see a big sadness that he had. And just imagine a child of this person was able to overcome not only her own upsetness and her own hurt and hard feelings that may have been there, because now there's a gentleman that broke off the shidduch for her, but living with her parents being sad, at least her father, I don't know about her mother, at least her father, and yet to overcome these feelings that someone has all the time and yet be a very happy person, this really says a tremendous amount about Perel, how much she really tried to make sure to be happy and to make other people happy. Perel's being very dedicated to her mother, I assume her father too, but more so to her mother. She really took excellent care of her mother, and she was really, as we say in Yiddish, very übergegeben, very much given over to the needs of her mother, and did beyond her ability to make sure that her mother was taken care of to the best of her ability. Next thing is, as was mentioned before also, her levels of kindness. So there were people that she had living with her. Someone in particular was not able to stay with her for 10 months a year and was not able to pay the rent. She would not evict this person, and she let this person stay. I don't know if the person eventually moved out or the person got a job and was able to pay, but she let this person stay. That's almost something unheard of. Even people that of much better means than Perel would not, generally not, do something like this. Another very, very kind and special case, Perel was made aware of someone that was in very big financial trouble with the IRS. And Perel herself decided to give $1,000 a month to the IRS so that this person would be able to stay afloat and not get into bigger trouble. So as we know, Kaddish is usually said for the first year after one passes away, and Jeff mentioned to me that it's being worked on, that to ensure that someone is going to be saying the Kaddish. But what is the purpose of the Kaddish? The purpose of the Kaddish is that the first year after a person passes away, there's something called a person goes to Beis Din Shomal, a person goes to a heavenly court, that God assesses a person's deeds, some of them are good deeds, some of them the other, and a person is in judgment for 1 year. Therefore, the custom is that a Kaddish is said for a year, sometimes 11 months, depending on the situation. Whereas in this kind of a situation where there's no one that is really obligated to say the Kaddish, definitely the Kaddish helps. But what can be done really to, so to say, help Perel? That her judgment should be a lot lighter kind of a judgment. And she should be able to go through a judgment as if there would be someone else there saying a Kaddish. And the way a person accomplish that is that if we remember her good qualities and try to fulfill the mitzvahs and the good things that she did in her memory because she did them, so even though she's not here, she's not able to accomplish any mitzvahs on her own. But we are able to accomplish mitzvahs for her. The good deeds that we do because of her wonderful kindness and her wonderful good deeds is a way of giving her more good mitzvahs that she should be able to come out with a judgment that is very positive. And as a quick review of just some of her positive character traits that we should try to keep in mind and think about Devoshe Perel bas Pinchas haLevi. Like Ginsburg remembered that Mr. Lewinger, as he remembers her, Mr. Lewinger was a Levi. So some of the character traits that we mentioned are as follows. Always try to have good things to say about someone else and not to speak about their shortcomings. Second of all, we should try to be happy with the lot that Hashem gives us and look at the positive part rather than being bitter and being frustrated with the things that we don't have and we feel that we should have. The third thing to remember and to try to do in her merit is help others even if it means to forego something for yourself. As was mentioned, that Perel went on different kinds of shopping sprees, but she wasn't a woman of great means. She may have spent a little bit more, but she definitely wasn't a wealthy person by any means. But yet, she found it that if it sometimes meant to forego something for her, she gave someone else the pleasure rather than giving it to her. The fourth thing was, as far as being modest with what she did, a number of the things that were mentioned were not really public knowledge to everyone. Until today, obviously. She didn't go and boast and to mention to everyone had the different people that she helped and the good things that she did. She did it because this is what her parents taught her and this is the right thing to do. And the fifth thing is always to remember to honor your parents as much as possible, not only while they're alive, but even after they pass on. And in truth, the schus is a person can give merit to their parents even after they pass on. As a person does the mitzvahs, does all the good deeds that they're supposed to do, that gives credit to their parents. And in this case, if we're able to do our good deeds because Perel has done them and she's someone that we can learn from as far as what to do and to improve ourselves, we can also help her improve herself in the world above and in the heavenly court, not only for the first year, but also for ever and ever. Before I end off and close, first and foremost, there are a number of people I really would like to thank personally who made sure that this Chesed Shel Emes funeral is referred to as a Chesed Shel Emes. It's a kindness of truth, because once a person leaves this world, they can't repay anyone and do a favor back to the person that did them the favor. So it's really a Chesed Shel Emes. So there are definitely a number of people that I'd like to thank. Some of them I know the names, some of them I don't know the names. First and foremost, it's a very special that really it's a wonderful crowd that came to make sure to take part in the, as we say, the kavod ha'achrein, the last honor given to a person before they totally depart this world. It's very special that everyone came to take part in this Chesed Shel Emes to give honor to Perel in her passing. Second of all, a very, very special thanks I'd like to give to both Richard and Frank We spent a long time yesterday trying to work out all the details in the cemetery here, both from the mortuary side of things and the cemetery side of things, to make sure that this Levaya would be able to actually happen, not only happen as soon as possible. So very special thanks to Richard and Frank that really did beyond their regular means in making sure that Perel would have an appropriate burial, a very Jewish burial, as she really would have wanted, and they made it happen not only as soon as possible, but an hour sooner than possible. Initially it was supposed to be called for 3 o'clock, but Frank worked it out that we were able to make it at 2 o'clock. Very special thanks to Leslie Barnett that helped with her legal expertise in this matter to be able to make sure things were able to get done. And definitely a very special thanks to all the people in the Happy Minyan that gave Perel a place to be and gave her a place to feel like home, and not only gave her a place to feel like home, gave her a place to be happy, and really her real true self was being happy and smiling and having other people enjoy her and her enjoying other people. So very, very big Yasher Kayach to all the people in the Happy Minyan, those people that were able to make it today and those people that were not able to make it. It was definitely a special place for her that we're very happy that they were able to make her comfortable, happy, and feel good. And also I did want to mention a number of definitely the ladies in Arshel. When Perel would come to Arshel, ladies would, and men too, would make sure that Perel was comfortable and they're happy to see her. And everyone really went out to make sure that she was happy and taken care of. As I just wanted to end off by saying, when we merit soon the days when Hashem will wipe away all of our tears, and may we see Mashiach come speedily in our days.
Amen.
Now we're ready for the funeral.